Hello everybody, Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I got a video this morning that I think is just super video that you'll want to watch the entire thing and you'll want to tell your friends about this, okay? I'm going to call it Tunnels Under Homes, and I've got a little write-up that I'm going to read to you right off the bat, and then I'm going to go over this evidence that will blow you away. I started with, I believe that my home and the many other homes where the owners have reported people in the attic have been rigged with the tunnel coming from a nearby neighbor's home that leads up a hidden crawl space behind a wall and into the attic. This allows the home intruders to come and go all they want without being seen. This video talks about homes in Midland, Odessa, Snyder, that's all in Texas, then Hobbs, New Mexico, Carlsbad, New Mexico, and Alabama. There's other states, California, Oregon, Arkansas. I just didn't put them in there. So many I can't even count. These are not crazy people, and it's not animals. I saw a person in my attic, and I was shot with burglar alarms going off here. When the homeowner is not home, then the criminals have the entire home to use as their own. This is very profitable as they pay no rent, no utilities, and no taxes. It's organized crime and racketeering. The crime victims who figure out that crimes are being committed against them are oftentimes labeled as crazy for reporting them, and I believe these life-destroying lies are done on purpose. A guy on YouTube made a video about me, calling me crazy, and it's had 2 million views and counting. I look forward to the day that that guy goes to prison. Our press is also involved in hiding these facts from the public, as it's easy to see that a news story showing all of these homeowners reporting somebody in the attic would cause an uproar, resulting in the crimes being committed, being stopped, and the criminals arrested. As seen in my home, if you attempt to stop them yourself, you may be ambushed and shot with corrupt police that come in to tamper with evidence and lie on the police reports. We need good police to arrest these criminals that are involved in these crimes. These crimes couldn't go on all over the country without the assistance from corrupt police and public officials. That's all there is to it. And you know, we have to admit that fact and go forward to stop the crimes. Back in 2012, I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with burglar alarms going off in the attic. At that time, I didn't have proof showing that I wasn't shot with my gun, proof of many other homeowners reporting people in the attic, or multiple people documented saying that tunnels and underground homes are here, but I do now. I also didn't even know the names of the secret police, but I saved up disability money and offered a reward to get them identified. It took 6 years. This video lists the many other rigged homes that I happened to find out about after surviving that murder attempt. Obviously, it's just a fraction of the number of homes that are rigged in a like manner. I lived here 2 years before I figured out that somebody was breaking into this home, and now I know the owner before me was reporting people breaking into his home before he died. I'm looking back and I'm believing that they rigged my home before this one, before I moved here in Hobbs, and I have a comment on that I'm going to show you. Okay, right from my Facebook this morning, and this all started, the idea started was from this guy's YouTube comment that I saw this morning, and he wrote, "This needs to end. So sick of all these higher up people getting away with everything. I'll help you share and get this out, buddy. By the way, this is Jared. This is my backup account. My main one was banned, etc., etc., etc." Okay, and I wrote him, I said, "Thank you for sharing this story, Jared. When I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home, had burglar alarms going off in the attic, but at the time I didn't know there were many other homeowners reporting people in the attic because our police and press have been hiding these facts from the public. I believe that most of these many other homes have been rigged similar to my home, which has a tunnel going to a nearby neighbor's house and a modified wall with a hidden crawl space that allows those dangerous home intruders to come and go all they want without being seen. I believe this is connected with human trafficking, but also includes many other crimes up to murder. This should have been a national news story a long time ago." And the video he commented on that was on Facebook was called "Find the Wall, Find the Tunnel," you know, because I've had a lot of people, "Oh, you need to dig, you need to do this." No, you really don't, you know. You find the wall, you find the tunnel. But you also find armed and dangerous criminals backed up by secret police murder gangs and the press that is covering up the crimes for them. We must have real police to stop these crimes, and there's plenty of evidence here, and this is what this is going to show you. There's just, I mean, you're going to be blown away at how many different homes that you know that I've been told about where people are in the attic, you know. And so here's this first one. This is my first comment. I said, I've recorded calls from my police scanner or have been told of at least 4 other homes in Odessa, Texas, where the owners reported people in the attic. And I believe that each of these were rigged with the tunnel going to a nearby neighbor's home and a hidden crawl space up a modified wall that allows the criminal to come and go all they want, which I already said that. This may be happening at your home right now and you don't know it, and it's very possible that you'll be murdered if you try to expose it based on what happened to me. And there's the video, attic investigation for Odessa homes. I put a little comment under it here instead of, playing the video or whatever, and I made this comment I think is important. The Odessa Police Department encrypted their police radios after I had recorded them calls from my police scanner of people reporting people in the attic in Odessa, so no, I can no longer get that, and I think it was done that on purpose for that reason. Okay, I suspect there's many more homes than this over in Odessa that have been rigged, and also here in Midland, and then I put this list here as a comment, just showing the list of addresses here in Midland, list of addresses in Odessa where I've documented happened over here on my police scanner other homeowners reporting people in the attic. See, I wasn't told that when I was reporting people in my attic, and then I'm ambushed and shot with burglar alarms going off in my attic. And I mean, that makes a big difference, right? It's not just Buddy, it's people all over the country, okay? And so my next one says, a woman in Carlsbad, New Mexico. Now keep in mind, that's across state lines. That makes this federal, right? Now we're talking multiple states. A woman in Carlsbad, New Mexico set her home on fire claiming that people were in her attic. She had tried contacting the police about these crimes, but they wouldn't help her, and then she went to prison for arson. I suspected that home was rigged with a tunnel, like I said earlier, going up a modified wall coming from a neighbor's house. Okay, so attic investigation, 601 South 6th Street, Carlsbad. This includes the news broadcast of talking about it in that video, and then I also look at the neighbors, because I think it probably comes from a neighbor's, one of them neighbors. And I'm not making any accusations of saying this person broke into that person's house. I'm just showing you here, doing an investigation. We're using public information to assist law enforcement to stop these crimes. Okay. My comment under that was this news article was mysteriously deleted from the internet after I made a point of this home in Carlsbad. It does show that these same crimes are going on in other states. Okay, so what I'm saying is here, this article was it's called the Carlsbad Argus is the name of their newspaper, and it showed a picture of the house where it was burned and got caught on fire or whatever. Carlsbad woman burned house down. You try to find that on the internet and it's gone. They took it off. I started posting about this on Facebook and going, look, it's not just my home. Here's another home, South 6th Street over here in Carlsbad. Here's the date. That was the same year I was ambushed and shot. She believes someone was living in the attic, right? She repeatedly asked Sergeant Blaine if the person in the attic had died during the fire. A friend of mine from my hometown of Hobbs, Harriet, she told me, I heard somebody did die there and it was covered up. That was Harriet Ladd that said that. Okay. A woman at 300 Hickory Street in Midland called the police and reported that somebody was in an attic. She said that she could smell them smoking cigarettes. If you're a non-smoker, then you know that. She had her family out in the front yard waiting on the police. And then, of course, obviously terrified, scared to death, rightfully so, And I believe this is another home rigged like my home with a tunnel under it. And they're coming from a neighbor's house up a modified wall, gives them access to come and go all they want. Okay, I went to the appraisal district, looked up the neighbor information for that because, I'm suspecting it might be one of them neighbors to this home here at 300 Hickory. And I said, well, here's the 2 neighbors, that lived on this side, lived on that side, etc. Okay, so that's what's there. I do that for each one of them. I'm trying to go fast because there's so many of them here. A woman at 3322 Providence in Midland called the police and reported somebody in the attic. I believe this is another rigged home which had a tunnel going from a nearby neighbor's home along with a hidden crawl space up a modified wall. This allowed the home intruders to come and go from her home all they wanted. In this video I made, Attic Investigation in Providence, there was an estate sale there, and I actually took pictures at that home, And when I did, I found out one of our past members of the Midland Gem and Mineral, who I believe was a police officer, used to live directly across the street. He recently moved out of town after I made this video. Okay. Neighbor information for this home, and this is really the immediate next door neighbors. He lived across the street, so his name is not here. But it's just showing you here's Viola Harper. I'm not even sure she's alive anymore. That's kind of common, for whatever reason. And so this is the victim's home. There's a police scanner call. It's not a what if could be. She reported somebody in her attic, and I'm just looking, going, okay, well these people own the house this side of her, and these people own the house on this side of her, okay? And so it's very possible that one of them knows something about a tunnel going from their house over to the other house, and law enforcement could talk to them about that, about that felony. My roofer told me about the people living at 2505 Dartmouth in Midland, Texas, who told me that somebody was getting into their attic. I suspect this is another rigged home, has a tunnel, et cetera, okay? It looked like one of their neighbors was the parents of Curtis Lloyd, the man who found the remains of Haley Dunn outside of Scurry County 2 days after I wrote the Department of Justice and suggested they look in the underground homes and tunnels at my home. That's very, very interesting there, that home was Curtis Lloyd's parents' home. And I wonder if he didn't grow up there. I wonder if Curtis Lloyd didn't know that there was a tunnel. Maybe there's a tunnel going from that house over to the victim's house, because this is the victim's house, Monty Gist, and I talked to his wife right there, and she had told the roofers, and they told me, and I went over and talked to her. Here was a house on Terry Lloyd was the owner, and I believe, and I looked to Google it and everything. That's how I found out that Curtis Lloyd, the guy that found the remains of Haley Dunn over in Scurry County, used to live in this house next door to a house where people were being reported in the attic. And this was the other next door neighbor, Landon Graham, right there. Once again, we're not making accusations, but just stating facts, asking questions, and trying to solve crimes and make our community safer. Okay. In June 2013, I heard a call on my police scanner for 4619 Story in Midland, Texas, where the late Harold Klotz had reported somebody in the attic. Are y'all seeing a pattern here? Okay. I spoke with this man who told me that he owned this home for many years, but had moved out for a few years and let some family members live there. He noticed that people were in his attic after he returned, and I suspected they were involved in rigging it. Mr. Klotz also said that he had a next door neighbor who was a doctor and had a lot of 24/7 traffic. This home was later bought by David Pine, who owns Pine and Beckett Realty. The realtor that found me my rigged home was Janine Pruitt, and she works for Pine and Beckett. I just thought that was an interesting coinky dinky there. I come to find out Janine's husband owned a company that cut concrete for a living. He died. Actually, Harold Klotz died. But what's interesting, I've done videos on this before, that if you're going to rig a private home with a hidden underground access and it's got a slab concrete floor, you got to cut the concrete. And I wondered if her husband didn't know something about cutting concrete in private homes to put in trap doors, But he's dead, so we can't ask him. Okay? And so, anyways, this is the Story home, and once again, I'm looking up the neighbors. Okay. So here it is. You can see where Harold Klotz owned it, and like I said, Harold is no longer alive. Okay, that was the first home I found out about after I was ambushed and shot. I was just like, wow, I don't have a police scanner call on it, but I have an email where I sent it to myself. This, I think it was the doctor right here, Paul Best or whatever, and that's the one that he had told me there was a lot of traffic over there. And this is the past owners of the home for the other side, And so, once again, that's all just information for law enforcement to investigate. A woman in my hometown of Hobbs, New Mexico, once again, that's another state. Well, I'm in Texas now. Heather O'Donnell reported people in the attic of her home at 2606 Sunset Circle. She also told me that her boyfriend, Donnie Cobb, told her that he had shot somebody in Midland. Okay, and I wondered if he was the guy that shot me. I believe this home is another rigged home, which is a tunnel coming from a nearby neighbor's house with a crawl space coming up a wall, etc. Okay, I believe that home was built by the Callaways. I looked it up, and it was the Callaways who built my home in Hobbs, and the one next to it that I believe was also rigged, and that was my first in-laws, was the Callaway family. Okay. I'd married Tammy Calloway. Okay, so I have a video on it called Attic Investigation Sunset Circle Home, and here is the print screen. Heather O'Donnell told me that her boyfriend Donnie Cobb said that they were drunk and shot somebody. She sent me his picture. Here that's her writing. His name was Donnie Cobb. He tried to kill me with drugs, is what she told me. I think it's a sex trafficking ring. I think Heather is right. I think it is a sex trafficking ring. Okay, and when Donnie was drunk, he and his friend shot a guy. That's what Heather told me, and I've sent this to law enforcement. I don't know if they investigated it or not. I don't, amazing. I mean, who knows? I just can't speak for law enforcement. I think it's just utterly amazing, and that I've documented this. I have to post it in the public, and the crimes just never stop. A woman who lived at 3309 Haynes reported somebody in the attic of her home here in Midland. This home is near the mall, and interestingly, a Home Depot employee told me the same thing that was going on behind their store was also going on at the mall. And I suspected he was talking about sex trafficking, okay, and the truckers and all that. That was my guess, connected with people in the attic, tunnels, all that. Several people who have lived in Midland for many years told me about tunnels by the mall. I have that documented. I believe this is another home rigged with the tunnel that has a crawl space hidden behind the modified wall. And it's also near the draw. My home is near the big draw too. I have a video on that called Attic Investigations 3309 Haynes. Okay. And then once again, I went and looked up the deed history for the neighbor's house and all that. I think it was Sybil Alexander is who called in, is when I've got the recorded call from the police scanner, and so police records will show. But surprisingly, I contacted the police department, or contacted the city of Midland, requested a list of all homeowners reported people in the attic, and City Attorney Gates wrote me back and said nobody had, including me. All these people, I have police scanner calls where the police were dispatched to the home for people reporting people in the attic, and the city of Midland is claiming nobody has. I kid you not. I have the email showing that too. Jennifer Strilchuk reported to the Midland police several times that there was somebody in the attic of her home at 2903 Chelsea Place. I secretly recorded a call with Jennifer, who told me that her burglar alarms had been going off all day, and while crying hysterically, she said, "I'm so friggin' scared. This crime ring that is rigging private homes with hidden access are evil to the core." Okay, and I have a video on that called Terrorized Homeowner. And then here I also put, I just went and got the neighbor information for that house. That was Jennifer's house. That was her husband, Clay Strilchek. And you can see it's 2903. So 2901 was a guy named Joe Weatherford. 2905 was Jared and Misty Andrews. They lived on the other side. And so once again, it's not making accusation. It's just, showing you public information, trying to assist law enforcement, ask questions, state facts, etc. I wanted to, here in that video, we're just going to play just a second, just a clip of it with Jennifer on the phone. I want you to hear this.
My security system be going crazy today.
Yeah, the security system.
You can hear it go off.
I should try to hear somebody.
It's just crap, that, and that's what I was selling in that phone call. Y'all can listen to that, watch the whole video. She's like, "I'm so friggin' scared," and what do I tell her? Well, most of the time they don't cut your phone lines and shoot you and then send in secret police, but sometimes they do. I mean, is that comforting that most of the time they don't try to murder you? The one thing, don't trap them. Don't try to stop them from breaking in your home and stealing from you, because you might get murdered. A woman in Alabama reported people in her attic several times before she crawled up there and found a hidden crawl space behind her bedroom wall. Remember, that's what I've been saying. That's how these homes are rigged. She sent me these videos, which I posted. These crimes are not only going on in Midland, Odessa, Texas, and New Mexico, but many other states. I have people contact me from California, Oregon, and Arkansas. It's organized crime and racketeering, widespread, nationwide. The feds should be investigating this. I'm going to put a clip on this video, and this was from Alabama, okay?
And here was a place that was taken out of my bedroom that we found.
She's in her attic.
In my ceiling. to where I suppose they had a camera planted there. And then this, right beside my bedroom, you could just drop down in here in between my walls.
Just drop down in between my walls. That's what she said. That's exactly, that very top movie, Find the Wall, Find the Tunnel. I have other evidence in there that talks about that. That's how I believe they're rigged. A tunnel comes under the house. It's a wall modified. A lot of times I think maybe it's near where the fireplace is because it's bricked in and it's a good place for it to be it actually have room. A normal wall doesn't have enough room for a person to crawl up it. It has to be a wall that does have space. These are not harmless criminals who are just spying on the homeowners and stealing services from them. As seen here, the ER nurse at the hospital documented me saying that alarms kept going off after I'd been ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut. It was somebody under the home that had shot me, and now there are many people documented as saying that tunnels, underground homes are here. I believe they murdered the guy that lived here before me, Mike Lawhon, and he was reporting people breaking into this home before he died. And then I have a link to my latest video, Underground Homes in Midland, leaves absolutely no doubt to them underground homes that are near my home. I doubt all these other homes have $1 million underground homes, but it's obvious this one does. Looks like one of them's in the backyard, okay? And here, this is the nurse's notes from the hospital minutes after I'm shot. And the nurse time-stamped 11:27. I'm crawling out at 10:42, and she's going, my neighbor's breaking my house. There are sirens going off. The alarms kept going off, okay? And there's a voice recorder. And I told the police, there's proof. Go look, there's proof. The voice recorder. And they went and stole the voice recorder, okay? I made a big point of it, and then it got replaced about 2 years later. Or whenever, checked it into evidence, a long time after the fact, and then I got a message from one of the police officers, one of the secret police on my YouTube channel. He said, "Buddy, I stole the evidence. Ain't nobody gonna find out." And I sent that to law enforcement. It has been lawlessness. One act of lawlessness after the other. This here is the 911 call that I laid over the video of me crawling out after I was ambushed shot. The reason I crawled out was because they had cut my phone lines and stolen my cell phone before shooting me. And I'll just play a little bit of this here. And I was at the 7-Eleven at the time there. I just wanted you to hear that these are dangerous criminals. I was supposed to die. That was a premeditated, for-profit, capital murder and, cold-blooded murder. And God saved my life, I now believe that my home at 7611 Rolling Meadows in Hobbs, the one I lived in before this one here in Fair Circle in Midland, was rigged with a tunnel before I moved to Midland. I didn't for a long time, but then I was thinking back in 2002, my daughter noticed a light on in the attic, and I hadn't been up there. I suspected that a late ex-wife, Cindy Barton, that was a person that had. How do I put that? That was a person up there, but Cindy told me right before she died that she didn't get into the freaking attic. Okay, so what I'm saying is I knew somebody had been in my attic, but I thought it was Cindy. I forgot about it, okay? And then after I find out all these other homes are rigged, I remember that my daughter, noticed the light on in the attic, and so I asked Cindy. I said, "Cindy, did you get in the attic? I know you were in my house." "No, I didn't get in the freaking attic," and so I got a print screen of her saying that, and then she dies, You notice it? Notice this pattern? Not only they're breaking in homes all over the place, lots of people are dying too, And I said that home and the one next to it was built by my first in-laws, the Callaways, okay? And that's why I was talking earlier. This video has a lot more information called freaking attic. This map shows where I suspect the tunnel may be coming from the neighbor's home to my home in Hobbs, and both of these homes were built by my first in-laws. This one home here and this home were built by the Callaways, my first in-law, and this home here was the one I lived in there. That's where for 16 years actually, and I'm now suspecting there's a tunnel that was going between them, and it was rigged all along, and I never even knew it. That's really what I suspect. And part of the reason is my mom dies 52 days before I'm shot. Don Calloway, that is one of them Callaways, he dies just a couple of weeks before I'm ambushed shot. And then my dad marries Ann Calloway, and they quit talking to me. Ann sends me a note and saying, "You wasn't invited to the wedding because I don't want a crazy person at the wedding." Well, the crazy person is the one telling the truth there, right? He's the guy's got proof of, you know, somebody come to my home and shot me. And it was her and her husband that built them homes that I lived in. Okay, here we go. Before I had proof of these same crimes happening in many other homes, I installed cameras in my attic, but I could never catch them, even though I could find other evidence. I finally proved they were hacking my cameras. This shows these criminals are very tech savvy. I believe they can also hack computers and phones, which allows them to know what the crime victim's schedule and plans are, etc. Okay, and I have a video that proves that without a doubt. Why hasn't anybody been caught on camera? It's proof of them camera hacking. And in that video is this email I got from Samsung tech support, where I kept calling them going, this system is hacked, that system is hacked. And the text tells me, he says, that's not possible. He said, you'd have to have physical access. And I said, they do have physical access. They shot me with a gun. And then I could tell he felt guilty. And then he sends me this PDF file, gives me instructions on how to enter into a secret configuration admin menu. Okay, and I suspect that's how they rigged the system. And what they were doing was they were using software to freeze the camera, and that's what was that's what's showing in this video. I'm gonna show you just a part of here that they're freezing the cameras. Okay, and this is just a part of this video right here.
Burglar alarm going off in my home. It's June 24th, 2016 at 12:39. I can see it on camera number 4.
Okay, see it flashing?
On camera number 3, though. It should be showing up on camera number 3. That was a burglar alarm that we seen yesterday. I reported yesterday, and that's what I was talking about. Sometimes they don't show up on them other camera feeds. That's because these criminals are hacking these cameras and compromising them, and that's how they bypass it. And that has been used to commit these crimes against me, which includes the capital attempted murder. And so I want to make that real clear. I was shot while burglar alarms going off. You just seen that burglar alarm there, and it should have been in 3 different camera views, and it was only in 1.
Okay, on 7/21, 357, same motion detector goes off. But now you can see it flashing on camera 3.
7 burglar alarm going off. We can see it on camera
4.
Number
See it here.
4, number 6.
And
That's what it
6.
should be.
Okay.
That's a real.
And that's what I'm saying is I mean, it was the same motion detector, and one day you only see it on, you know, on 1 camera feed. The next day you see it on all 3 camera feeds. You should see it on all 3 all the time, right? What they're doing is freezing the camera. There's a button on the remote control that you push freeze. It's called the freeze button, and it freezes the camera and stops the recording to the DVR. That's why you never seen it flashing. That's how come I could hear them move around. I could find evidence of people in my attic, and I could never catch them on camera because they were freezing the camera. And I believe they were using that advanced configure menu to configure the network up so that they could do that. Okay, and so anyways, I just wanted to show you that on how these tech savvy criminals are using that. This is used to commit capital crimes. Should be a national news story once again, because millions of them units have been sold. The owner of 1620 Park Street told me about somebody getting in the attic of that home, okay? And this one, I didn't do the neighbors on it. I just didn't put it in here, but a guy named Jay Chris is sitting here telling me, and he said similar experiences, and they called him crazy. That's the modus operandi, is to call the crime victims crazy. And I was showing the owner. I just went to MidCat and looked up the owners, and then looked up the past owners. I later got threatened over this by some of these past owners there that worked for Pioneer. That's interesting. First owner of my home was an engineer for Pioneer, you know. And, you know, that's interesting because the underground home in the backyard is believed to be for oil show parties. Pioneer's a big oil company. I was told that somebody's getting the attic of 3305 Perry Street in Midland. This is a guy on my friends list right now. I think his grandpa owns that house, Lupe Carrasco. And I went and looked up the neighbors to that house, right? I haven't made a video on this one. It's just one more, you know. There's so many, I can't even count it. But I have the print screens of where he told me that. Michael Hornsberger, told me that he almost shot somebody in his attic at his home in Snyder, Texas. Here's Michael right here. I almost shot someone, you know. And as I live in a very small town, this shit is real. And next time there's someone in my attic, I'll blow their legs out from under them, etc., you know. And, it's just unbelievable. Sooner or later, somebody's going to get killed, either a homeowner or one of these people in the attics, whatever. And sadly, I'm afraid it'll be covered up by corrupt police. MJ Guzman posted on Facebook that he was here in some of the attic of his home in Andrews. He posted on the Andrews Buzz there. Somebody sent me this. He said, I just moved to my house in February, and all of last week I was gone for work. Now that I'm home, I'm freaking scared. I've been hearing movement in my attic all night, And I think somebody called me, it must be a bug, or it's a squirrel, or it's a mouse. There's always some excuse, Hundreds of these homes, This is only the ones I happen to find out about, all this evidence that, I saw a person in my attic. It don't matter paying to get the secret police identified. It don't matter how much evidence you got. These crimes break in. Crimes are still going on at my house today. This is Buddy Webb, and y'all need to share the story. Talk to you later.